Hey guys, what's up? Wanted to come on here, give you a bit of a review, if you will, on the PXN Arcade Fight Stick. This is, of course, something I got in one of the package openings recently, about a week ago or so. And yeah, it says it works on just about everything. It works on the Switch. It works on Android. It works on Windows, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. Now, here's the thing. I haven't tried it on an Android yet, which would specifically be that. I haven't tried it on an Android yet, but truth is, I may have to get... I don't know. I know there's an adapter somewhere for it, for an Android, where you plug in the USB adapter for it, and then you plug in this, and it should work. So I gotta look into that first before I do that, but I think it will work, there's no doubt. Now, this system, like I said, it's basically advertised to work with with everything I just mentioned. Now, I will tell you that when I got this system and I started plugging it in and everything, that it didn't feel like it was working right away. It really didn't. I'll be honest with you, it didn't feel like it was working right away. As you can tell, I've already used it because the wire is a little cuckoo. But yeah, it didn't feel like it was working right away, if you will. But over time, it did. It did work over time, and it actually works very well. I'll give you a bit of a story if you're wondering why it didn't work for me at first. When I hooked it up to the computer here, when I hooked this up to here, basically, the thing worked and everything. It just, it wasn't. I think my computer was just slow at that time, or was catching up on stuff, or something was going on, and it wasn't responding. I mean, it responded to this like very slowly, but it wasn't like responding to anything else. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, responding to stuff like that. Well, the second time I put it in, it started to work, so that was kind of cool. Then the next thing I did was I took this cable right here, which is the initial switch cable, which is the initial... Well, it basically came with the Zelda controller, which is like... let me see, get it right here. It came with this. The initial Zelda controller came with this. So... Oh, the USB cord came... This USB cord down here came with this Zelda controller. So, what I did is I hooked it up. I used the USB cord, hooked it up to the PS4 controller for this, did everything the instructions said, and it didn't work. It wasn't responding. So, what I did later on, the second time I tried it with my PS4, is I used this baby right here, which is a PS4 licensed USB cord by Blackreb. I used this right here, and long story short, I pressed home and option simultaneously, which I don't think some people tell you, because one of the people that I saw reviewing this said press home and then options. I think you're supposed to press it simultaneously. So I pressed it simultaneously, and the home button here, and then the option button on the PS4, on the PS4 controller, which is like right here, the options button. So I pressed it, and it worked. It synced up. So that was kind of cool. So I was happy about that on the second try. At least it worked. Then, before that, now in between that, I should say, I used this USB cord for the Xbox One. Again, followed the instructions, and it worked. It actually worked. So, it is playable. I haven't done it on the Switch yet, but according to what they say for the Switch, you don't have to hook up the Switch controller or anything like that. You just put it into the USB port on the Switch, and you should be ready to go. Now, here's the thing. About this kind of a controller. exactly what kind of games does it work with. Well, first of all, as people have probably said in their reviews, which you can find here on YouTube, you have two different options to control the joystick here. You have the joystick option and you have the D-pad. The D-pad does make it a little easier for like certain games, but it's basically about the same. The turbo button, of course, is, you know, to turbo out things, you know, basically make things a little bit more, um, how do I put it, faster and more, you know, accelerated or something like that. The micro button here, I think this is what it's called, a macro, but what is it, macro? No, it's macro button. This basically programs like certain buttons to do certain moves from what I understand. From what I understand, it allows you to do certain moves. Like you say, I want this to be punch and I want this to be kick or something like that. You program it in. I think you use options to do that, and you know, there you go. I think that's what you do. You use options for that, and there you go. But overall, besides that, it's actually a pretty good controller. Now, if you want more information, I do suggest looking up PXN Arcade Fight Stick reviews online here on YouTube. And you'll hear from other people that go into more depth of how this works and everything. So I would check them out. But overall, it does play very solidly. It's a very solid controller. I like it. I really do. The USB cord, like this here, the other part of it goes into here. Well, this part goes into your controller, and the rest is history. So it actually works out pretty well. It actually works really good. Like I said, it's very clicky. The only thing that I think kind of hurts it a little bit is the color coordination on the buttons here. Now, obviously, this plays off of a PS4 button color coordination pad. So you have X here, you have square, you have circle here, triangle here, and you have square here. But when it comes to an Xbox controller, that's a little bit more different, because even though there are similarities even though there are somewhat similarities, the big difference is right here. It's like, okay, so here's A. This represents A. So A is green on the controller, but it's blue here on the on the PXN. And then you take a look at the Y. The Y is represented by green. The X basically, you know, is represented up here in pink, while B, of course, is in red. It's its standard color. So that will kind of throw people off if they use the Xbox One, because it doesn't it doesn't basically say, you know, specifically, you know, what the controller is for, you know, what, you know, it doesn't basically give you kind of like a color coordination. Like I said, it's basically more based off the PS4 controllers than the Xbox One. So you got to be on the lookout for that. But overall, it's not a bad controller. It's not bad at all. And as a matter of fact, I'll probably show you some game footage that I'll be doing to go along with this, because I think this is already long as a video. So stand by. So overall, though, guys, I really like it, and I'm going to show you some game footage with this. So stay tuned. see that it's working very well. We're going to go story mode.
Select your pony.
Now watch. We're going to go with rarity.
Shall we get started then?
So as you can see right there, that's basically an example. I'm sure you heard it in the background, and of course me showing you it. Yeah, it actually as you could tell, that was just the fighting mode. I don't know why when you go up against Rainbow Dash using any other character, it gets a little hard. But it does give you a better advantage than, let's say, the 8-bit Duo or even the GameCube. This, I'll be honest with you, this is the closest. Using this controller, let me push this down a little bit more. There we go. But using this controller here, you know, using this controller along with the GameCube controller are probably the best ways I've ever had a chance to win in single mode on Fighting is Magic, which is, of course, the predecessor, the prototype to what would be Them Fighting Herds. So if you're into a game like, let's say, Them Fighting Herds, or if you have the complete, semi-complete edition of Fighting is Magic, then definitely get yourself one of these to really play, to really give yourself, I should say, a chance at playing the game. Now, here's the thing, though, about this. You know, it's not just for fighting games either, because one of the first games I tried out with it on the Xbox One was Sonic Adventure 2, which I brought over from the 360. And I tried it. I went to Dark Story mode. Of course, the first character on the Dark Story mode you play as is Eggman/Robotnik, and this actually worked pretty well. I mean, I died about like once or twice, but the rest of the game, I actually played very well with the joystick and the buttons and everything. They worked very well. They responded very well, so I like that. And then another game which was surprisingly well with this was Cuphead. Cuphead was another great game with this. Even though, of course, people know Cuphead is very hard to play, especially when you go through the when you go through the what's the word I'm looking for? The Floral Fury boss. When you go up against them, it is still kind of hard to get by them, but the controller here gives you more of a chance. It makes it the gameplay a little bit more tolerable. It allows you to actually go diagonally with your shots and everything. So Cuphead's actually a good game you could try out with it as well. I tried out the Disney Afternoon. I tried out Rescue Rangers. It didn't do too well, but it was okay. I tried out WWE 2K19 with it, and I think it still has to be. I still have to get a hold of it and everything, because mainly the main thing about the WWE games is, depending on the system you have to have like one of these to go with it, because the moves do require one of the do control another require another stick on the side to work. But overall, besides that, it's actually pretty good. It actually works very well. Like I said, heck, even Sonic the Fighters. I tried Sonic the Fighters on Xbox, and it works very good on that. It actually works very well on that, so I'm cool with it. What's interesting is, though, when I did it on here and I would use home, when I would put this on my computer and I press home, all of a sudden the Xbox screen, because it's also Windows and has an Xbox app to it that you connect to your system if you want to, or to your service, the Xbox thing came up. So I'm wondering if this was also meant to be primarily an Xbox controller in the earlier production. Who knows? But overall, though, I highly recommend getting this. It is worth getting in the end. Basically because of the fact that for about 50, but depending on what you want to spend, systems I should say like this are worth getting, because of the fact that they help really with certain games that you feel and believe you could only use regular controllers with. So again, like I said, I highly recommend getting something like this in the end, if you feel like it, because it actually works. And like I said, some of the games that I've played with it so far, or I played on it so far, are, they work. They're very playable. And I think, honestly, just keep it in the box if you feel like it, or if you have a place to display it, I would display it. But overall, though, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for my PXN Arcade Fight Stick review. Hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. And I am out.